evening, my friends. It's Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. That means it is time for Draft for Upside. We are live on the Legend Sports Network, found at LennyMelnickFantasySports.com. We are Draft for Upside. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, webpage. Hey, you can find us almost anywhere. We got a special treat tonight. We got Adam White for the whole show. How are you, Adam?
Why is that so special?
Well, because usually you only grace us with like an hour of your time. Now we get to hang out for the whole show. It's wonderful.
Usually 53 minutes.
Yeah, 53 minutes, almost exactly.
8:07 is about the average, yeah. No, I didn't work today, so I've been just vegging out, drinking beer, eating pizza for the last couple hours, so I'm ready to roll.
Oh, it's fantastic. I have pizza in the oven here. My wife's going to bring me a couple slices in a few. With me, as always, Mr. Chris Emwerk from sunny Florida. How are you, Chris?
Well, hey, I didn't work today either, not in the traditional sense. Unfortunately, I'm Danger. I know that I don't think you did either because I saw your vacuum promo. But I don't have pizza, unfortunately. I made some ribeye steaks. A little bit for the dog, a little bit for me, and now I'm going to open this can of Official.
Oh, Bell's Official Hazy IPA.
3 months old, but I made the mistake of waiting too long, and I went to a beer store that used to be pretty good in my area, but they feel like the craft beer boom has busted, and it's partially busted there because they don't order anything good anymore. So I probably should have gone down the street about 3 or 4 miles, but there's a likelihood that place wouldn't have gone good. Unfortunately, where I live, I need to travel about 45 minutes. My old job used to have me next to one of those beer stores, but it is an old job, and it is no longer a current one.
Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't work today either. I took the day off, so a bunch of unemployed fools today, just hanging around, drinking, eating. That works for me.
For sure.
That was also fun, but that's a different story. Mm-hmm. Hey, I got something very important to add here real quick.
Yes, please. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the most beautiful sound in the world, that beer opening. What did you open, my friend?
I've actually got a Grand Armory Brewing Crop Duster IPA, which I thought it's a Citra IPA. I thought that was very fitting for me.
Yeah, I crop dust all the time, but it has little to do with beer.
That's exactly why I went with it.
I like it. Yeah, how's it taste?
It's quite good. It's getting the job done. I mean, it's a pretty standard Citra IPA, 7.3 ABV. It's pretty tasty. Not the best I've had, but pretty solid.
Oh, yeah. Let's see what I got here. Oh, yeah. Isn't that just the sound of the heavens opening is what that is?
Well, yours, it sounded like you were ripping the mic off when you were doing it, too. Jeez.
Oh, beautiful. Even better. I have a Wild Away. It is a Storm Cloud from Michigan here. Storm Cloud Brewing Company. Belgian-style IPA.
Frankfort, Michigan. Beautiful town.
Absolutely. So, Adam, you have some fun going on this week, right? Are you not playing the Michigan Open?
Michigan Am. It's over. I played like shit today.
Oh, you didn't make it?
No, I was in good position after yesterday. I was sitting like 35th or 40th or something. The top 64 make match play. I went out today and played probably like you would for the first 6 holes, and then regained consciousness and still played like crap. But
well, that's a very nice visual because I can understand just how terrible you were today. Then,
yeah, the first 6 holes I felt like a bogey golfer. I wasn't even quite that. It was unreal. I awoke on 7T and I went, "Where am I? And what am I doing here? Oh my god, my scorecard's terrible." So it was rough. It was rough.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man, because I had tomorrow off, and I was going to come heckle you. So,
well, let's go get drunk instead.
That's actually probably a very good idea. So I got to go in the morning for a couple hours, and then and after that, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I'm down for whatever.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that your Michigan Am Open fell apart on you. I'm sorry.
I appreciate that. I am too.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? What are we going to do? I just don't know. All right. Chris, you sent me some kind of wacky link. I clicked it. Some information came up. I filled it out. I clicked submit. It was beautiful.
No. It's perfect. Everything worked swimmingly. It's programmed right. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, it looks great. How many robocalls trying to get me to buy a model renew for my kitchen am I going to get now?
Absolutely none, because the lead goes directly to me, and I'm not selling it out. So that's
perfect.
Fine. I was just making sure that it was working. The ad spend dollars that I was putting forth from the very generous company that you see there was actually working. Because when I click on it, I get a completely different screen, and I kind of freaked out. Everything works. All the automation works. It goes right to my phone. It's perfect. So
everything looks great. Everything looks great. So let's talk a little baseball, buddy. Did you get into any DFS tonight at all?
I did. I decided to get in on some of these big tournaments, and I've had a tough couple of weeks here, just in general in life. As you may know, not everybody does, and not everybody needs to know the details of it. But I was hoping that it turned around today, so I went with a couple. The Braves have just been smoking hot recently, so I went with a little bit of a Brave stack. I threw in a little bit, some Zach Greinke. I couldn't get up to Max Scherzer, and then on my other team, I went with some of the hottest bats out there. I kept Albies because he's been just raking. Blackman's been on a different level, and I went with the Dodgers against Pomeranz. I mean, Pomeranz has been good his last two starts, but both of those were in Oracle Park. We're going over to Dodger Stadium, and I think a Dodger stack will be underowned and has a possibility of blowing up.
You very well could be right. I went in a total different direction. I played a 3 max, and I did a White Sox stack, I did a Angels stack, and I did a Cleveland stack.
Well, the only problem with the White Sox game is I don't know whether or not that game is going to actually play through.
True. True story.
I love Giolito as a pitcher. I was thinking about going Giolito and Greinke and trying to figure it out, or Scherzer and Giolito, but without Giolito there, it just didn't make sense to put the other two together and just trying to. There's just so many weather concerns on tonight's slate that it would have been hard to. Fill in some of those positions. I mean, I think the guys that you would have ended up with is some Blue Jays and some Marlins, but even that Marlins game has some concerns for weather. So I tried to play.
I got a couple of fill-in players for Marlins, but I looked at it and I said, weather be damned. I'm just going to play it. I'm going to play it and hope that I have low owned and hope that the guys get the game in.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's when you can run that risk, sometimes it's worth it. I remember last year, I think it was sometime in May, there was a surprise cancellation. It was not ranked as a game that Roth thought was going to be postponed. It was, I believe, Atlanta and Chicago, and a lot of exposure was there, and I just completely avoided that game. It got postponed, and my stack, my Angels stack that night went off, not quite as well as it needed to, but I remember sweating that out for some big money, and I ended up doing pretty well that night, but I almost did really well, and it was just easier because like a 30% owned stack was just out there, it was gone. So if you can get on the other end of it and get a 5% owned stack, and it goes off because it's muggy weather and the ball travels out, you're in a good position. But I think the Dodgers are going to be around there. I mean, the last time that they played San Francisco, I think I got some lineups in against Pomeranz, but it was in Oracle, and they had really low ownership. So I suspect that they're still going to have low ownership based off of Pomeranz's last two games. He shut down Milwaukee, shut down the Dodgers. Those are both formidable offenses, but in a much different park now over at Dodger Stadium. So pretty excited to win this $20,000 and feel a lot better about my life.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So I decided to basically exclusively put Trevor Williams in all 3 of my stacks. And, man, the Tigers are tearing them up in the first inning so far.
Hey, I thought about Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams was on my list. I just needed a little bit more salary, so I didn't end up with him. I ended up with Max Fried in one of my lineups, and I think actually he's my SB2 in both of them. I had Punko, but I decided against him last minute, went with Fried, and then I've got Greinke in one lineup and John Gray in the other one. So There's a lot of places where this could go bad.
Yeah, I got 2 shares of Williams, 2 shares of Rich Hill, 1 Scherzer, and 1 Ponce de Leon. Yeah,
I mean, I like the rest of those. I like the Rich Hill. I think Scherzer's a really good play. Just if you wanted to play, I'm only playing 2 lineups. I really wanted to play the Dodgers, and I really wanted to play the Braves. And the Braves have some really expensive guys because they've been raking. And I wanted to play Freeman and Albies and Acuna and Donaldson. And to play those guys, it's just really difficult to do it by playing safe and putting Scherzer in there. So I had to come down off of him and move over to Greinke, who I think actually has a pretty similar ceiling. I don't think he's going to reach it as often against Colorado and Arizona as Scherzer will on the second half of a not back-to-back, second half of a doubleheader. I guess it's back-to-back. I guess you can call it that.
Well, everybody knows how poorly we're doing seasonally. Chris, are you playing any seasonal besides the one we're in together? How are you doing?
Yeah, well, okay, so the one that I'm in with you, I continually forget to check, even though I've been home the last 2 weeks. I just forgot to check it. I made those trades. I got optimistic. That team doesn't look very good this week. We're doing all right, but
Chris Archer falling apart really has screwed us hard. We thought we were sitting good on pitching, so we traded away Max, and now Mondesi's got a groin injury, and Chris Archer's blown up, and John Gray hasn't been good, and so it's not good.
I would go ahead and just cut Chris Archer. I have no interest in him. We're in a point where we're over our limits. I'm not interested in Chris Archer for the most part.
We have an open spot, by the way. We'll have to evaluate at some point.
I'm sure he's probably on somebody else's roster, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But the Marlins are calling up a prospect from AAA to pitch tomorrow. And he's looked great in AAA. I think he's like a 1.7 ERA with a 9-1 record. Let me pull it up. We can see if he's available. But my other 2 leagues, my Dynasty League, I've had some challenges. I'm right on the cusp of the playoffs. Either my offense or my pitchers, one or the other, don't show up. It's hard to get them to come together for one solid week. And then my complete redraft league is looking pretty good. I've had some actual big struggles the last 2 weeks that have bumped me into second place, and I'm a couple of games back. But I'm not worried. I've just gone through some injuries. I've got Hunter Dozier, Moncada, Chapman. I've got Garver and Castro, Yelich, Kane, Soto, Bregman. So I've got some guys. It's just when they all don't hit together, it makes it very difficult when you're hitter heavy. But I did make some trades, and I've got Shane Green, Wade Davis, Blake Tran. So I do have some relievers there that kind of carry me in the saves category. So I have high hopes for that team.
Yeah, my main league that I play in every year and host is I'm struggling between 11th and 12th place. It's not been good, but that was the team that I gave away all my draft picks to make a run last year, and the run came up short. So not only did I get screwed last year, but I fucked myself for this year. So that's just never going to work out well. The other league, I'm kind of right on the playoff line. It's fine. I'm doing all right. And then in the league I am with Adam, up and down. Adam, how about you? How's your fantasy seasonal leagues going? Are you in any other besides the one on ESPN that I'm with you on?
Just that one, bud. And it's not going well. I am in DFL, dead freaking last. My only goal at this point is to finish the season at 69 points exactly.
That would be pretty incredible. I mean, do you get a prize for that?
I will give myself a prize.
Right, a crisp high five?
Yeah, and maybe a celebratory fitting celebration with those numbers involved.
Yeah, I like it.
Other than that,